What's up, everybody? Welcome to Among the Fence. My name is Aaron. Today we're checking out the new album Introsphere by the band Gravemind. This is the second studio album from the Australian Metalcore band. They formed in 2015 and immediately dropped a debut EP titled The Hateful One, which has some very strong death metal qualities to it. I think it kind of teeters more on the side of being deathcore than anything else, and I feel like it holds up really well, especially in this scene just 10 years later. And they kept that momentum going in 2017 when they released another EP titled The Death Gate, where they honed in on their ability to create darker atmospheres, and they really showed their technical ability, especially in the drums. I feel like the drums are doing so much throughout that album. And they finally released their debut album, Conduit, in 2019, and showed that the metalcore scene can still be really heavy and unique, and they don't have to follow very specific guidelines like what they do now, where everything's just structured the same exact way. They really got creative with their songwriting, and I feel like the way they were writing songs brought a breath of fresh air compared to some of the other releases that we got in 2019. Cough, cough. Now, my initial issue that I have with this new record is that they released over half of it through singles, where I know singles are like the new king in this day and age of everything being streamed. But if you have an upcoming album, especially in the more underground kind of area of metalcore and death metal and stuff like that, I just get so hyped for albums. So when I have 50% of it available to me, maybe it's just a me thing. It just kind of loses its hype a little bit. But anyways, the first single they released was Death Touch, which is an absolute assault on the senses. The intro is heavy as balls with some synth added in there to give it a very disorientating sound. And it's interesting that it does have some radio-friendly qualities to it, but it doesn't sound generic. The riff isn't super dynamic, but as the song goes on, you start to hear a little bit more articulation beyond just chugs. And then halfway through, you get the chorus, which has clean vocals, which was totally unexpected. And then the outro is just insane. It ends on one of the more colorful moments throughout the song, where it's just everything through the song is just unexpected. It just continually changes. And if you're not really paying attention the first time, it just happens without you really even knowing about it. And then they released another single titled Terminal, which is the opening track for this album. It takes a more aggressive approach with a big scream in the intro with a groovy riff and some dissonance thrown in. The chorus gets even groovier when the clean and the distorted vocals come together like a match made in heaven, and they sound so beautiful, especially over the riff. And then verse 2 is insanely heavy thanks to the drums, and the breakdown just gets a little thrashy, and it ends on the chorus after a bridge that just keeps you guessing where the song is going to go next. And then we have Fear, which was the next single release featuring Jamie Halls from Polaris. It's only about 2 minutes and 40 seconds long, so it feels a little bit more chaotic just because you don't really get to settle into it, especially since this song feels like it's made for more of a live audience. It's made for, getting the mosh pit going, getting everybody spinning around and throwing fists and stuff, but it still works well at home. But you still feel the urge to, start throwing things around your house and headbutting your front door or something. And Jamie adds a little bit more dynamics to the vocals. I'm not really sure if he was needed, if it was necessary, because he doesn't add that much, but it still sounds really good. And it definitely breaks up the monotony in the vocals, but with the clean and the distorted vocals kind of having different qualities to them anyways, you don't really even notice that there's another vocalist there. They switched gears a little bit with their next single, Alloy, which I guess could be considered the slow song off of this album. It has a dreamlike intro with a soaring chorus, and verse 2 brings in the harsh vocals with another dissonant riff that doesn't sound like it ever repeats, so it just makes it sound like it's even more all over the place. Then the second chorus has clean vocals that break up, just adding to the passion. And from the lyrics, it seems like this is about depression, but the only person who can get him out of it is the idea of his future self. So he's looking into the future, it seems like, at himself being healed and being broken out of this depression, and that gives him hope to continue pushing on, knowing that he's going to get better eventually. So it's almost like he's the only one, like he's singing to himself in a way. Maybe I'm completely wrong. There's a very good chance of that, but that's just kind of how I took it. And then we have the song Failed State, which features Mick Gordon, who's a composer for video games, and he writes all kinds of weird sounding stuff on his guitar, and is definitely, you could definitely hear that in this song. The intro has some very interesting sounds in it, as does just the rest of the song in general. The vocals are very much in your face. This feels like one of the more aggressive songs on this album. It also feels more traditional in terms of just the guitar parts and the riffs and overall song structure. It feels like something that would have been released in the early 2010s. And then we have the song House of Cards, which is my favorite song on this album. I love the vocals and the lyrics about technology controlling our lives, and it's almost like a Matrix kind of thing, almost like a simulation. And the riff and the outro in this song is so freaking good. It reminds me of something that Gojira would write, possibly. To me, this is one of the most standing out moments on the album. Then we have the song Rorschach, which is either about the character from Watchmen or it's about a mystery movie from 2022. Either way, the lead guitar shines a lot in this with a little bit more colorful melodies standing out. The vocals are almost as quick as the riff. I really enjoyed the distorted vocal delivery in this one, and the bridge makes for a very good build-up going into an epic outro. Anhedonia is another one of my favorite songs off of this album. It features Reba Myers, who was the guitarist and vocalist from Code Orange. I really enjoyed the different soundscapes that they explored in this. The intro is very dark, and it's like they just turn up the volume as it goes into the verse. It works really well at separating the first half and the back half of this album as well. And Reba's vocals sound so good. They stand out and they just blend in so well with the mix. And it's just, this is another one of those moments that I just can't get enough of it, and I have to keep going back to it. And the bridge is beautiful as well. And then we have the song True Life, where we now see the antagonist fighting back against the simulation and trying to find his true life, almost like a Truman Show kind of thing. The first breakdown is heavy as hell, and this is one of the only, stereotypical down-tempoed breakdowns on the album. I'd say this is one of the more passionate songs. It definitely feels like where the climax of the record is. And then we have the closing track, Pranic Lift, which is a type of healing through meditation, and this song is not at all what I was expecting after hearing that. It's got a droning intro that gets a little bit more presence from the drums when the vocals come in. Once it picks up, there's just a whirlwind of sound, from guitar squeals and dissonance to constant chugs, and the drums just sounding like they're all over the place, and it quickly picks up the pace and becomes one of the craziest songs on this album. Lyrically, I'm not sure how it fits in with the rest of the simulation kind of concept, but it sounds like the loss of an unborn child. And I'm not really too sure, I didn't dig too deep into the lyrics, but from the descriptions, I think it's described perfectly. It's the sorrow and the despair that is felt is absolutely unreal. And also the anger and just the hopelessness. You definitely feel it in this. And I'm not sure if that's kind of why his mind has kind of transferred into something else to kind of cope with it, and that's what makes up the rest of the album. I'm not entirely sure. I couldn't find too much information about it, but that's what I took from it. I don't know. It's pretty rough. I loved this album. The riffs are creative and they're aggressive. The drums go hard. The lyrics are poetic. They're very vulnerable. My only critique is just hear me out on this one, all right? More cleans would have made it better. Some of the songs sound kind of the same, if I'm going to be completely honest. If you go through this entire album, once you get away from the songs that have clean vocals, it all just kind of meshes together into just this thing that sounds the same, just one big long song. And the songs that stand out the most to me, and the ones that I keep going back to, like Alloy and Death Touch, have the most vocal varieties, and they have cleans. And the cleans are used so well. I'm not saying every song needed it. Just like two more songs to me would have broken up the samey sound kind of thing going on throughout the rest of these songs. And I wouldn't necessarily say that this is like a knock on the album or a negative whatsoever, because it's still phenomenal. I just feel like personally I would have enjoyed it more. Something that I never thought I would say is that an album needs more clean vocals in it. So with all that said, I gotta give Introsphere by Gravemind a 8.1 out of 10. But I want to know what you guys think. Leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of Introsphere. Let me know what your favorite song is and what you would rate it. And as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to help support me, especially with YouTube's algorithm, don't forget to give this video a like. It goes so far and it'll keep my videos popping up in your recommended section on YouTube. And of course, if you want to support me further than that, feel free to subscribe and ring the bell icon. Doing any of those things just does so much for my channel, and I appreciate it so much. And I appreciate you guys for taking time out of your day to listen to me just sit here and talk about music. And I hope you have a good rest of your day or night whenever you happen to be watching this, and I will talk to you guys next time.